Well. College football fans, Clemson Tiger fans, welcome back to another post-game reaction video here on the Clemson Tiger, or here on the Voice of College Football Clemson channel. I'm your host, Tiger Paul Craven. Thank you again for joining me. Little bit late on the post-game reaction. Reason being, myself and Smitty actually went down with our wives to the game this weekend in Clemson. So we were inside the stadium for that very interesting game. It was a long weekend of driving and all that kind of stuff. So this is the soonest that we could get to the show. So we apologize for that. I know Mark Rogers did a little bit of a breakdown for you guys on Saturday and told you that we would be on either Saturday night or today. So here we are, as promised. We are here for a little bit of a breakdown. Now, there's still some people doing some traveling that are normally here to break down the game with myself, but I do have DeAndre that will be joining me momentarily to do this Syracuse breakdown. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the game. There's quite a few storylines coming out of this game with Syracuse. We all know the struggles that Clemson's had in the past with Syracuse. We obviously know about the 4 turnovers in this game. We know about DJ being benched, Cade Klubnik coming in, all that kind of stuff. So we will get to all of that momentarily. But before we do, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please do so. We really appreciate it. It would help us out. If you are in the live chat right now, if you could for me, just give us a thumbs up on the live video. It helps us out, helps out with the YouTube algorithm, help get the video out there to more people and help us grow our channel here and grow the conversation about our Clemson Tigers. And also, last but not least, if you would like to support the show, links are in the description below. And you can also use the super chat feature throughout the show tonight and any other live show that we do as well. So without further ado, we'll bring on my co-host DeAndre. DeAndre, how you doing tonight, man?
Man, excellent. Watching my Steelers try to make a game of it, but hey, it is what it is. Rebuilding. Yeah, man. Yeah. So what's going on? How did you enjoy the atmosphere? Death Valley homecoming.
I'll tell you what, man. It was a great atmosphere in Death Valley this weekend. There were a ton of people there, man. The stadium was full. It was rocking and rolling, man. My throat's still a little scratchy from all the yelling and screaming that I did while our defense was on the field. I was trying to scream the whole time, but I am very tired. I'm ready to go to bed. But it was a crazy game. Not the game that I expected, obviously. Not at all. Not in the least. But the fans stayed pretty engaged the whole game, man. It was a pretty crazy atmosphere. It was fun. And only thing we can say is we got out of there with a win. So we are, officially 8-0 on the season and heading into a bye week where hopefully we figure a few things out. Hopefully we get healthy. And hopefully we continue to get a little bit better for our home stretch of the regular season, and then hopefully get ready for some post-game action.
Well, I feel that, a lot of people are disappointed in how the game went, even if we won. But that is 38 straight home wins and also, 14 in a row. And I think people need to take a look at it. The last 5 weeks start with NC State, going to Wake Forest, NC State, Boston College would be in the red bandana day, then playing Florida State, Syracuse. You had a lot of emotional football, and I think this bye is needed. I know everybody's mad at DJ, but I can't imagine how to go 8 straight weeks with those type of emotional games. And a lot of these guys are some of your biggest rivals like State and Florida State. And, of course, Syracuse, we always be worried about deal because our stuff seems like to happen when we play Syracuse. You know.
Yeah, man, it seems to be that all the weird stuff and the crazy things happen when we play Syracuse. It was an interesting game, to say the least. I'm not quite sure. I mean, we'll start with the elephant in the room, right? We'll start with the quarterback switch. So it's something that was debated early on in the season. It was something that was debated before the season even started. Um, when would DJ be replaced? Would DJ be replaced? When would Cade take over as the starter? And as we know now, sitting after the Syracuse win, Cade is not the starter. DJ is still the starter going forward, but DJ was benched in this game. I don't know what you saw. I know you watched the game from home. I saw DJ missing a lot of reads. There were receivers open in the secondary consistently throughout the game. At least from what I saw, he was hesitant in the pocket. It looked like his balls were kind of fluttering coming out of his hand. I don't know what was going on there. He just didn't look comfortable. He looked rattled at times. Not really sure what went on, but that's not really the DJ that we've been seeing the past, 3 or 4 weeks of the season. He's been much more accurate this season, and he's been putting the ball where it needed to be, and it just wasn't the case in the Syracuse game for whatever reason. I don't know what that was, but I think it was time for him to kind of sit down in that game. But let's not pretend like Cade went out there and threw this team from a deficit to a victory, right? He was 2 for 4 for like 19 yards.
All right.
So it's not like he went and lit the world on fire either. Credit this win to first and foremost our defense, and then credit the win to the offensive line and those two beastly running backs that we have in the backfield for Clemson.
Okay. Now, Phil brings up the same thing I'm about to say. I don't know. The guy that had got a personal foul, but I don't know if he had time to look at Twitter. There's something going around that a Syracuse player stomped DJ foot and hurt his hand. So,
I heard that.
yeah. So that might have had a lot to do with it. But also, I would say this. We moved the ball on Syracuse. DJ was still 61% in the game. I think it was 13 out of 21. So I don't think he should have lost his. I don't think he should lose his job. And Dabo put it perfectly after the game. I don't know if you heard the comments, but Dabo said, he was telling Curry had a bad night. It happens, and I think he should have. So we don't know all the effects of that. But also, I also like to get back to the coach play calling too. Yes, DJ missed a lot of open passes, but if you were able to run the ball on Syracuse like that the whole game, close to having 300 yards of rushing, why did you run the ball the whole game instead of trying to put them in a bad situation? That fumble at the end zone, I thought his knee was down, but it wasn't. But I think he should stay the starter. And like I said, I'm not convinced that Cade is ready to take us there. And I think the team is just emotionally tired.
Yeah.
I think they really are tired.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got to look. They've kind of been through. People say what they want about the ACC, and that's fine. But Clemson's kind of been through a lot of games here in a row, right? Starting with Wake Forest, then we went to North Carolina State, and then Florida State, and now Syracuse, and it's been a lot of games back to back to back that Clemson's had to get up for, and there's no excuses. Look, you got to be ready to play the game when the game's supposed to be played. So I'm not making any excuses for Clemson. It was absolutely crazy to see us turn the ball over the way we did. DJ was completely off. But to your point, I think two things can be true, right? I think DJ was not the man for that moment in time in the game. I think he needed to be benched in that moment. But I also think he's the starter going forward, and I think he gives Clemson the best opportunity to get where we want to go going forward.
Right.
That's my opinion on it, and I think Dabo has echoed that. He has made it very clear that there is no quarterback controversy going into the bye week. So he went ahead and squashed that in the post-game press conference for any people that were going to start printing those articles and start making those arguments and speculating here and there. That's completely shut down. DJ is the guy. It just wasn't his day on Saturday, and that's okay. But to your point about the play calling, we should have leaned a lot more on the run, and we did lean on the run. I mean, we ran the ball 60 times, if I remember correctly. I looked up the stats. We ran the ball 60 times, especially when K got in the game. It was you could tell we were going to run the ball until they made us stop running the ball. And really, if you really watch the game and you look at the box score, it's crazy. We should have put up a ton of points against Syracuse, but we just kept shooting ourselves in the foot with the turnovers and the miscues. I mean, we killed ourselves. Syracuse defense never really stopped the Clemson offense. We were able to move the ball when we wanted to move the ball. We just couldn't finish drives on Saturday without turning the ball over and without shooting ourselves in the foot. We just couldn't finish drives.
Yeah,
I mean, there was never a point. There was never a point where I was watching that game on Saturday where I was like, man, Clemson's offense has no answers. They just can't move the ball. That wasn't the case. That was not the case.
Yeah. And I see some other people talking about the dirty play. I don't know if it's true, but at the same time, I just think that and also Miller needs to stop jumping off getting false start penalties. Is he like every week?
He's gotten pulled out a few times in games this season.
Yeah, stop moving. I know he's probably nervous. Yeah, it's too late in the season to get that. But but if you were able to move the ball that easily, like you said, Clemson defense stepped up, 5 sacks. We held them to 21 points. And 7 of those points by their team came off the 90-yard run that DJ fumbled on. But like I said too, sometimes we got to look at it in the point of view. We all know DJ might have heard some of the pressure. People already started asking him, "Are you going pro next year?"
Right.
Are you doing this? Y'all didn't get to see the game live. I see the game on television. But they were talking about him talking to sports psychologists. Why you got to go there and put that man business out there like that?
I know, right?
So there's things that we got to look at and say, what affected them. Cleat stomp, pressure, all that. Sometimes you just got to relax. And if we were able to make a comeback with this running the ball, how in the world did we do that? And I don't like that slow mesh play on the goal line either. Even K struggled with it. I know K is a little smaller than DJ. Yeah. I think he even struggled with it too. So I
think when you're on the goal line like that, especially against a team like Syracuse that has kind of an undersized defensive line, right? I think you look your offense in the face and it's gut check time, right? You got Phil Moffa and Will Shipley in the backfield, right? If you can't run the ball 3 times in a row and get in from the 1-yard line, you just ain't supposed to score that touchdown. I'm sorry. I don't think a slow mesh is kind of the play for that. I think you tell them big boys up front, like, hey, we need a yard. That's it,
Right.
But
I'm sorry. Let me address something real fast. I'm saying I keep hear people say Clemson is not a top tier team like Michigan, Ohio State, and them. Let me remind people, Clemson has played a harder schedule than Ohio State and Michigan and Georgia. They beat Florida State, who beat LSU, and since that game, only one they lost to is Tennessee. They just beat the number 9 team in the nation. So we have played a lot harder schedule than those other schools. And we beat the top 10 Wake Forest team currently. So when people say we're not top tier, who says that they would have went through the schedule and made it through? Just because they're playing the Big Ten. The Big Ten ain't that good this year.
It's simply because of that ACC tag. We all know that it's because of the ACC tag. They just assume that it's a cupcake for Clemson every year, and if we're not blowing out every single ACC team on the planet, we just must not be good that year. It's just lazy college football fans that don't actually watch the games. They don't actually know the teams. They don't actually know what's going on. If you think some of these teams that Clemson beat aren't good teams, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Wake Forest is a very good football team. North Carolina State is a very good football team.
When
Now
healthy.
they're not so good, without Devin Leary. Obviously, you take Bryce Young away from Alabama. What did they look like?
Ooh.
Um, their backup quarterback didn't look so hot, right? He can't throw the ball too well, right? So you take anybody starting quarterback away, they're not going to look so good, and they're going to start losing some games.
Syracuse beat Purdue, who was leading the Big Ten. Well, so the schools that we played are battle tested.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? They cannibalizing each other right now. So when you say that, it's not true.
Look, I'm not happy with the performance on Saturday. I don't think any Clemson fan is. I don't think any coach is. I don't think any player is. But at the end of the day, when you go into a game against an undefeated team, conference game, and you turn the ball over 4 times like we did, and somehow you still come out with a win, you're a very good team, okay? We made a lot of mistakes on Saturday, but we are a very good team. Our defense played amazing. Our defense allowed 0 points off of turnovers. 0 points off of turnovers. And they were putting in some bad situations. The only points that Syracuse scored off of turnovers was the scoop and score for the touchdown when DJ fumbled it in on the goal line. That's the only points that Syracuse got off of turnovers. So credit the defense. They pitched a shutout. Now, granted, they gave up some stupid drives in the first half. They gave away those 14 points, and it wasn't very good, right? They seemed like they were surprised every time Schrader kept the ball and took off, right? I saw somebody bring up in the chat, why didn't we have a spy on Schrader? I don't know if we did or we didn't. It certainly didn't look like it to me that we did. And if we did, we weren't taking good angles and we weren't stopping him very much. He was definitely having he was definitely kind of having his way in the first half as far as rushing and stuff like that. But to credit our defense again, come the second half, they locked it down and they didn't allow a single point. Our offense was still moving kind of slow. And the only reason that we were able to come back was because our defense locked in and they really got the job done. So credit the defense for the win, credit the O-line, credit Will Shipley that had an amazing game. I think he had something like 27 carries for 170-something yards.
72.
Phil Moffa had a great day as well. He had another like 19 carries or something like that for almost 100 yards, I think.
Right.
He was close to 100 yards as well. And he had a touchdown. So Phil Moffa and Will Shipley had an amazing day. The O-line played great for the most part. I think they played really well. It just wasn't our day in the passing game. Our quarterback, for whatever reason, wasn't up to the task. But we did what good teams do, and we found a way to win anyway. When all the odds were stacked against us, we found a way to win. Now that doesn't mean we don't have a lot of things to clean up. We got a lot of things to clean up, but I think we truly do need a bye week. We need to get healthy. We need to regroup. We need to do some self-scouting. I would love to see them attack the middle of the field a lot more. I think they've gotten away from that as of late. They did do that one play. I think Big Mick mentioned it early on. He said Dabo got that play from him where they lined up with Will Shipley and Phil Moffa in the backfield. Will Shipley motioned out, and then they hit Davis Allen right up the seam.
He tried to do that against Brandon Stool. He tried to do that with Brandon Stool where he just overthrew him a little bit. And he seemed like I think he underthrew somebody too, another person. But like I said, man, I think we get off on DJ way too much. And if we were able to make a comeback by just running the ball, that was amazing. That we made a comeback from 14 down to win the game by 6 points by just running the ball. Because, Cade didn't throw the ball, and I got scary when Cade throws the ball. I'm like, I don't know about this guy throwing touch. I mean, I ain't trying to be funny, but I mean, I really don't like the way he throws the ball right now.
Right.
But we just ran the ball and just go back to what even when we came back against Syracuse with ETN, we ran the ball. But the 3-3-5, remember we had talked about this before.
Yep.
When we first started doing the show, the 3-3-5 gives Clemson trouble for whatever reason.
It does. It does. It absolutely does.
Iowa State.
There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, Iowa State, Syracuse.
Yeah.
All of them give us issues. Excuse me.
Yeah, Clemson had 25 pass attempts in the game for 15 completions.
Right.
And we ran the ball 60 times for 293 yards, which is domination on the ground. Again, if we would have finished those drives, the scoreboard would have looked very differently, but we didn't. So that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it killed my parlay. I'll tell you that much.
I bet it did.
No, I took the money line. I didn't even take the what's it called? The 14 and a half. Yeah, I took the money line.
There you go.
Yeah. So I think I did. I came out all right on that one.
Yeah, that's good. Clemson got the job done. Obviously, we didn't cover. The number was 13 and a half. So we didn't.
Yeah, but start of the game was 14-5. When did we learn that Brett Carter? Maybe that has something to do with Schrader getting open a lot because Brett Carter, it was like popped up like he ain't playing concussion protocol.
Yeah, I didn't learn about it until like we were already at I didn't learn about it until I was at the game on Saturday, and I think we were talking to somebody. And they were like, "Oh, Barrett Carter's out," and I was like, "What? Why?" And then I looked it up online, and it said Barrett Carter was out, for concussion protocol. And I was like, "When did he get a concussion? I didn't even know he had a concussion." But I'm assuming it happened in the last game. And then I remember Dabo talking in the post game about kind of how he was almost ready, but he couldn't quite clear the concussion protocol. So I'm assuming it happened in the last game against Florida State. I don't know at what point it happened.
I could have had it happen at practice too. You just never know.
It could have been. It could have happened at practice. I don't think we learned about that until like Saturday morning. I certainly didn't know about it. Maybe it was said before that, but I didn't know until Saturday morning. Right before the game.
Yeah, and that's why I say people don't realize how good of an athlete that Schrader is. Because if you don't realize, Schrader played receiver at Mississippi State because he went from quarterback to receiver. Then that's why he transferred to Syracuse from Mississippi State because he didn't want to play receiver. So the dude is a heck of an athlete, just like Ryan Tannehill, who plays for Texas A&M. He's a heck of an athlete, but I mean, he just got loose on some plays. I mean, maybe I think it was a Green. I think he might have been in there. I don't know. I don't know who was playing the nickel Carter's position. Yeah. Maybe they had.
I think Malcolm Green was kind of filling in a little bit there too.
And also, I think it's the way they had the tight end.
Yeah,
lined up too that helped out Schrader break loose on some of them runs because that tight end, he was amazing too for watching it from the television. I don't know what y'all saw live at the game, but I think the tight end had gave Clemson some issues too.
Yeah, for sure. DJ gets in, makes a good point. He said that 14-point turnaround made a 34-14 final a 27-21 final. Yeah, that fumble by DJ at the goal line and then them running it down, that was a huge 14-point swing in the game, and that hurts. Most teams don't recover from that. So credit this team for kind of coming together and just figuring out a way to battle back. Again, I credit our defense. Without our defense, we would have never been in this game. I heard some storylines come out. Normally we don't have time to kind of read and listen to the coaches' talks and stuff when we're doing our live post-game reaction. But this time we got a little bit more information. I heard them come out and talk about, I think David Hood was coming out and talking about how KJ Henry was really animated on the sidelines. He was kind of getting in dudes' faces. He was in offensive huddles. He was in defensive huddles. He was kind of all over the place, really trying to galvanize the team. And I think that just speaks to this Clemson team this year, and how bad they want to win, how bad they want it. They really that's not an easy game to win. When you come out and make the kind of mistakes Clemson did, that's not an easy game to win, and they found a way to get it done. I'll also say, I don't know if you watched DJ's interview.
Some of it, a little bit.
I haven't watched the whole thing. I've watched a couple clips of it where he's asked about kind of being benched and Cade's thing, and you love the guy because he reacts so maturely to a tough situation, right? Nobody wants to be benched. Yeah, nobody wants to be benched. Nobody wants to be pulled out of the game, especially when you're the starting, especially when you're a starter. Not to mention you're a starting quarterback, right? Such a high profile position. You don't want to be pulled out, but he reacts to it, so maturely, and he's just like, I just want to win. Credit Cade for going out there and getting the job done. He's such a team player in that sense, and like I said, I don't know what was going on with him, but I like the way he reacts. Dabo said that he was still being a leader on the sideline. He was going to Cade after every series, giving him advice, giving him encouragement. And Cade said the same thing in his interviews. So, credit DJ for not hanging his head. He didn't go pout like some kids would have done. He didn't throw a fit on the sideline. He understood the situation. He understood that he wasn't playing well, and he stood behind his team and rooted for him like a good leader does. So,
yeah, and the credit Dabo for saying, you know what, it's just not his night, whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Let's get him out of the game. Because in the way I look at the game, we really didn't need to throw the ball to win the game. We showed that. So, it was just fluky plays. And like I said, I think it was 17-14 last year. We all talked about the Friday night Syracuse game. We all talked about we talked about those issues that just see crazy stuff happen. Kelly Bryant transfers and Trevor Lawrence got hurt. Yeah. I don't know if you got to excuse me for 1 second. I know this is going off the rails for a second.
No,
but you see Justin Lawrence body slam Trevor Lawrence today. Yeah. That was funny. I was like, oh man.
Who did that? I didn't see it.
Justin Lawrence slammed Trevor Lawrence today.
Oh, some more Clemson on Clemson crimes in the NFL.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that was amazing. Justin Lawrence he's a monster right now in the NFL. I don't know if you keep it up with him, but
he's a killer, man. He's a beast.
Yeah, but I just it just been real fluky playing Syracuse. Luckily, I don't think we play on next year, so maybe that flukiness will go away.
Yeah.
But man, I just enjoyed the game, man. It was just amazing. I didn't know where we're gonna go, but
I enjoyed the game. Probably because I was at the game. I mean, that's if you were in the stadium in the fourth quarter, that place was crazy. I mean, we were going crazy every time Clemson was on defense. We were being as loud as we possibly could, trying to affect the game. You could really tell that the defense was feeding off the crowd in the fourth quarter. They were getting pumped up. They were waving their arms up to the fans. So it was a really cool experience to be there. A lot of fun. I wish we would have blown them out, but at the end, when you win a game that's kind of like that, it's sort of cool to be a part of. Not the way I would have wanted it to go, but it was a cool game to be a part of. Now I wouldn't be saying that if we wouldn't have pulled it out, but we did, so I can say that.
Now, what irritated me, I heard some fans, I think Uncle Lou, whatever, he made a comment like, "Why is Clemson rushing the field?" They're not rushing the field.
They're not rushing the field.
Yeah, it's called meeting at the Paul.
I got you. Thank you for mentioning that. I wanted to talk about that here. I'm sure, and I don't even know why I'm talking about it here, because all the people here, they already know what the deal is because they're Clemson fans and they understand. Okay, but if anybody else who's not a Clemson fan runs across this video, okay, public service announcement, okay, Clemson has a tradition. It's called meeting at the Paw. Win, lose, or draw, Clemson meets at the Paw, okay? Every home game, the fans go onto the field and they meet at the Paw. They intermingle with the players. They get autographs. They take pictures. They do the whole thing. They go sing the alma mater. They do that every single game, okay? No one was rushing the field because we beat Syracuse. We rush the field. If you want to call it rushing the field, we rush the field every home game, regardless. So if that's rushing the field, then so be it. Mind your business. You wish you were. You're probably a part of a team that you wish you were 8-0. So go worry about your team. All right, we'll be fine. We'll keep rushing the field, and y'all can keep talking about it. That's how we'll do that. I don't understand people.
I don't understand the comment. I heard them. I just don't. Everybody has their traditions and stuff like that. Yeah,
Tennessee throws mustard bottles, and Clemson meets at the Paw. Two different programs. I'm just kidding, Tennessee. Calm down. If y'all see this video. Philip Mellon gets in, says, you just don't see top-tier teams making these mistakes as Clemson does. Look, it wasn't the greatest of games. But you look at other top-tier teams around the country, and at certain points in time this season, they have struggled.
Missouri, Georgia.
Yep,
perfect example.
That's a game that comes to mind, right? How Georgia played against Missouri, is that indicative of how good Georgia really is? No, I don't think anyone would make that argument. I understand what you're saying, but I think we just, when you make turnovers like that, if you look at the game, Clemson didn't play extremely bad. They moved the ball well on offense, and our defense played a really good game. The problem was the turnovers. If you take the turnovers, which I know that's a big thing to say, but if you take the turnovers out of that game, it's a completely different game. It's not even close. So I don't think Clemson played horrible. We just turned the ball over, and you can't do that. That's when you turn the ball over against anyone, that's what happens. It becomes a really close game, and you can lose them. So.
And numbers don't lie. Ohio State and Michigan have not played the schedule that Clemson has played. Absolutely. Numbers don't lie. And then people sit there and go look at the numbers don't lie. We have played a harder schedule than both of those schools. Georgia struggled with Missouri, and Missouri just almost lost to Vandy the other day. So it happens that these guys are trying to make a name for themselves. They're not going to let people just run all over them and just let them win the game. Right. And we see that every weekend. Look at I'll give you a perfect example. Utah with Southern Cal. So Utah lost to Florida, and then they beat USC at home.
Yep.
They lost UCLA with Oregon this weekend. Hey,
absolutely.
And they got handled.
It happens.
And you're gonna have games like that, especially when you're familiar with your opponent and what they do. And like I said, just a bad game. Come on, man, that's got to be passed. I'm sorry, it got to be passed interference. So everybody said, let's wait till we get on the field with some of these teams, because everybody forgets Deshaun Watson's senior year. We struggled with NC State and Troy. They went out and wiped the floor with Ohio State and Alabama. We didn't wipe the floor with Alabama. We beat Alabama. So so it happens when we had a year that we won a national championship. We blew Alabama out, and we struggled with Syracuse. So every game is their own character. And again, five emotional games. But let's talk about the defense, man. That had to be amazing watching them play.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I'm gonna get to this one comment, and then we'll talk about the defense right after. Hunter Gofro says, I really hope they don't put us in the playoffs. Well, in order for you to get your wish, you better start hoping we lose some games, because if we win out, we're going to the playoffs. That's just plain and simple. If we win out, we're going to the playoffs. regardless of what happens around the country. I think an undefeated Clemson gets in the playoffs every time. I don't care what else happens. They're getting in the playoffs. So,
I don't know what
but
everybody's seeing
I
all
don't.
these other teams that are so dangerous.
With that comment, I get what you're saying, but I don't think the Clemson team you saw yesterday would be the team playing in the playoffs. Teams do get better, and again, not to keep harping on the turnovers, but that kind of killed us. But to your point, the defense played out of their mind, man.
Excuse me 1 second before you go to defense.
Yep.
I like to point out this too. The year that Deshaun Watson took us to the playoffs and we lost to Alabama 46-40. Remember, we were struggling against UNC, South Carolina, and all those other teams at the end. And we went out and blew out Oklahoma, who was probably playing better than anybody else was. But yeah, back to the defense. I just want to point that out. People just don't look at the full picture. It happens.
Absolutely. So talking about our defense, played pretty well, right? We allowed only 291 yards of total offense, 167 yards passing, 124 yards rushing. If I remember correctly, Syracuse was averaging, I don't know what they were averaging coming in, 200 yards rushing coming in, maybe. I mean, they had, arguably one of the best backs in America. We held him to very, very well. We held him in check for the most part for the entire game. Let's see what he had. He had 5 carries for 54 yards, 10.8 yards a carry. I'm sure Syracuse fans would look at that box score and they'd be like, "Why'd he only run the ball 5 times?"
Yeah, it was the coaching staff. I'm not trying to be funny, but the coaching staff they did a lot of swing passes with him. I don't know if they thought Clemson was focusing on him, but I think they did a lot of swing passes along towards him. So I think that's what caused it. I was kind of confused. Why did they not rush him more? It seemed like they used him as a decoy the whole game. So I really couldn't understand the.
So I think part of it was probably Clemson's defense probably was keying in on Sean Tucker. Obviously, he's the most explosive player on their offense, and I think Clemson felt like he was the player that could create enough explosive plays in order to beat them. So they probably keyed in on him some. So I'm sure that was some scheme. And then they were using him as a decoy. And then, they were trying to get him the ball on the outside, throwing it to him on the perimeter. So I'm not exactly sure why he only got 5 attempts. But you look at Garrett Schrader, he ran the ball 21 times for 71 yards. So
yeah, they ran him a lot.
He ran all over the place a lot. Kind of really leaning on that QB run is kind of what they were going with, and then trying to get Tucker the ball out in space. But the defense played great.
5 sacks.
5 sacks. Should have had a couple more. I don't know about you, but in the stadium watching the game, us fans were a little amped up, and I saw a lot of holding. I'm not going to say, hey, look, I'm not going to complain about calls and whatnot. There's been plenty of talk of that, with the game saying that Clemson played off the refs and the ACC decided at halftime that Clemson needed to win, so they told the refs to do it. Like, all right. I'm just saying I was at the game and defensive linemen were being held.
Well, I think a lot of people had an issue with the pushing of the quarterback on one end and then get called the other. Well, if you go look at if you compared it to Kane was way out of bounds. Trotter was already hitting him when he was already going out of bounds. If that makes any sense. So
right.
I really don't think that. I don't think they compare. But a lot of people were.
Yeah, a lot of people were mad about that.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. There's calls missed in every game. Yeah, you could say that's a missed call for Syracuse. And then you could say it would have been a touchdown pass to Adam Randall where they got hands to the face, and it should have been a PI. It wasn't called.
Right.
So there's calls missed in every game. Like I said, I saw a lot of holding. I saw a lot of potential sacks that were negated by what I believe to be holding. But it is what it is. They don't call everything. They're not perfect. And the game shouldn't have been that close anyway. Clemson should have definitely put it away, but we didn't. So
What about the 2-point conversion there? The guy that got that was an amazing catch.
that was a great catch. That was a great catch. Good job by Cade by extending that play and keeping his eyes downfield. And and got it definitely good job coming away with that. That first 2-point conversion, I think if Bo would have attacked that ball a little bit more, he might have been able to come up with it instead of that ball getting picked on that 2-point conversion. That's just my opinion. I think he should have fought through it and tried to make something happen. But our receivers don't tend to do that too terribly often.
Right.
Big Mick gets in and says Chase Bryce was at the game. Yeah. I don't know who let Chase Bryce come to the game when we play in Syracuse. Why would they do that? He brought that backup quarterback Juju with him, where the backup quarterback had to come in and finish the game. I don't know who told Cade or who told Chase that was a good game to come to. He could have came to any other game this year. He got to come to the Syracuse game and bring all that voodoo with him. I'm just kidding.
I was teasing y'all, say y'all was bad luck. I think it was Smitty.
Oh, we weren't the bad luck. Chase was the bad luck. Okay.
I think Smitty said the last time they lost at home, he was at the game, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think he did say that. Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah, so see, that's what I was talking about right there. So
yeah, I think he was. But at least Chase brought the bad juju, and then he brought the juju where the backup quarterback comes in and we win the game. So we'll take it. We'll take it. Good job, Chase. Thanks.
Like I said, I'm sorry if y'all look at how Cade throws the ball. He shouldn't take the job away for DJ. DJ to me wasn't in his he was having a bad game, and he came in and they ran the ball a lot more. But I just can't trust Cade right now the way he throws the ball.
Yeah, I don't think Cade's ready. I think he's still learning. I think he will be ready, and I hope he has a great Clemson career. But I don't think this year's it. I think DJ is the guy this year, and that's just how it's going to be. We got to hope that this was a blip on the radar for DJ this year, and that he gets back to what he's done for majority of the season, which is play really good football and be really accurate. So I'm not going to say
for 61%. That's pretty good, ain't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say after one bad game that it's all over. Got to bench DJ again, right? That's the easy thing to do. But I think he's given enough to us this year that you got to trust that he'll bounce back after this game. If he was able to bounce back after all the criticism last year and all of that, and even not starting out so well in the Georgia Tech game, if he was able to bounce back from all of that, I don't think it's going to be a problem for him to bounce back from this. And he's got a bye week to do it.
And that's what I think the most important thing is.
Is the bye week.
The bye week, I think it's going to and I hope we can get together and do a recap of the first 8 games and look at it and talk about it, all 4 of us. But I think that I wish people would let the season play out before they start saying Clemson's not on the level of Ohio State and Michigan. Have you seen Iowa play? Have you seen Wisconsin play? They're not very good.
To be determined. And I truly believe we'll see it happen because I think Clemson's going to the playoffs. I think Clemson's going to win the ACC, and they're going to go to the playoffs. Yeah. So I think we will. All those questions being raised will be answered at some point in time this season. We will get a crack at one of those quote unquote top tier teams.
And I'll be honest with you, I tell anybody I think Ohio State the best team in the country this year by far. I mean,
Yeah,
I really think so.
it might be. It might be.
Yeah. All the betting I do with college football, Ohio State's probably the best I've seen this year.
Yeah.
So, you know.
DJ gets in and says a little more creative play calling that utilizes the tight ends more. Well, we have had some. Yeah, we have been doing that this season. Maybe not so much in this past game, but we have had some pretty creative play calling when it comes to the tight ends. I just think we still need to attack the middle of the field some more. But I think our play calling is much more creative this year than it was last year. I mean, would you agree,
Yeah, I agree.
DeAndre?
Oh yeah, I think like I said, I think we try to outsmart ourselves. We should if we ran the ball like that, why not do it the full game? You know what I'm saying? Like why not run the ball, kill them, keep running the ball, man. And once we did that, I mean, look how we had came back. I I just think that it's amazing.
Yeah. Todd gets in, says special team, big plus. One of the teams can't forget. Yeah. So 1/3 of the team that you can't forget. Yeah, special teams. So let's talk about special teams. I've been a little critical of our punting this year. I'll be the first to admit. But Swanson did pretty good in this game, man. He hit some bombs in this game. I think he averaged like 51 or 52 yards a punt
Right.
in this game. He only had a couple punts, but he had some bombs, and I think he's starting to get a lot better. He started to show a little bit more consistency as the season's gone on, and started to be more of a weapon. I think,
Right.
which is a good thing. And then Antonio Williams as a returner, man, he looks like a natural back there. You know, he's explosive, man. That dude, when he gets in the open field with the ball, he is something to watch. So as much as worry about him doing kick returns and stuff like that, he's obviously the best at them, I think.
Yeah, he's better than I don't know. Will Taylor just get nervous back there, but sometimes he seems like he loses.
He looks nervous back there sometimes. The way
But that's a funny thing about it. I think he's an outfielder, so I'm like,
I
why?
know, yeah. I don't know, man. Well, I guess in the outfield, nobody's running down to knock your head off either. So,
Yeah,
you know, a little bit different. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
yeah. So
DP gets in and says, I would rather be in the college football playoff versus a meaningless bowl game. Yeah, of course. If I had to choose, I'm always going to pick the college football playoffs.
I'm sorry, I'm getting excited about the Clemson game. And everybody also got to remember this too. We got Notre Dame coming up, Louisville, Miami, and South Carolina. South Carolina look a little bit better than what they were looking at the beginning of the year. But in the ACC championship game too, because all we gotta do is win one out of the last. Be it Louisville or Miami, we're in there, and I don't think either one of those teams where they're playing right now can beat us. But what I was about to say is, I think that college football playoffs, you will have a whole month to get ready for these teams too. So you get to self scout and see what we're actually doing wrong. Where you only have a week to prepare for all those things that goes on, and people don't remember this too. And maybe another reason why the bye week, or you might not see some of the changes that you need to. We're still recruiting at this time, so you try to put a game plan together and recruit, and then all this other stuff. So sometimes, you might have to. You need a little break to say, hey man, let's recharge our batteries. We got 4 to 5 games, and we're gonna be heavy favorite in these games and get back right. I mean,
absolutely,
it happens. And hey man, let me ask you this.
Yeah, what's up?
What's it called? Strategically rooting. So it looked like we'll have to root for Wake Forest throughout the season now.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wake Forest needs to keep winning.
Yeah. Got to air in the top 10 right now, tied with Southern Cal. And I think that's one school that we're going to have to root for to win out. Florida State and Southern Cal. And also with LSU winning, help boost his Florida State's resume too. So,
Yeah.
those are schools that hopefully LSU knock off Alabama. And,
Well, they already knocked off Ole Miss, so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, man, I gotta get to work in the morning, so I appreciate it, man. I'm glad I was sit on to get an hour in to talk to you. And
Yeah,
y'all
man.
fans, keep me real, keep it live. Hey, man, hopefully we hopefully plan to do a get together this week and talk some Clemson football.
Oh yeah, we'll get with all the guys this week, and we'll talk about a time that works for all of us, so that we can kind of do a. It's not really a mid-season review, but we'll kind of
Hey,
talk
yeah,
about
recap.
what's happened so far. We'll recap the season up until the bye week,
And
and
then what we looking for after the bye week, what we want to see improvements at.
absolutely. So those of you in the chat, be looking out for that later on this week. We'll get that out to you guys. That'll be a live show as well. So you guys think about that stuff too, and we'll do a live show later this week about that. But
Right.
thanks for stopping by, DeAndre. I appreciate it,
All right.
and you have a good night, man.
You too.
All right, guys. I'm lone wolfing it now, so we'll get to a few comments, and then I will get out of here too for the night because I've been driving literally all weekend, and I'm tired. I'm very tired. So if any of you guys got some last second comments, you guys or questions that you want me to answer, by all means, go ahead and get them in. All right, I believe DJ could be a little bit more precise. Did the offense would be in a really good position? Yeah, he's definitely been much more precise at certain points this season, but today was or Saturday was not his day. That's my wife. Hey, honey. Love you. Let's see. It's true. Ohio State is blowing out everybody. Yeah, they look pretty good so far this season. They look really good. Gamecocks and Tar Heels are going to help if they keep winning. Absolutely. Hopefully the Gamecocks go on a run. And actually, no, I want the Gamecocks to lose every game. But it would be funny if they go on a run here and win some games. And then we crush their hopes and dreams again so they can cry some more at the end of the season. That's always fun to do. Good night and peace out, everybody. Go Tigers. Thanks, Philip, for coming in, man. Thanks for joining the show, commenting. We appreciate it. ACC Cross Country Championship at UVA this Friday. Go Clemson. Go Clemson. Yes, we drove a lot this weekend. Absolutely. I'm exhausted. All right. A couple more comments here, and then we're going to hop off of here. Miles Murphy was being held on their second official TD. If not, yeah. So there was a lot of holding, man. I saw a lot of it there. Excuse me, just being at the game. But there was a ton of holding. They were holding all of our defensive linemen. They really were on any given play. So I think the officials started calling the really, blatant holding towards the end of the game because, I think those were just too obvious not to call. But, that's just my opinion. What's your take on Notre Dame? Started off the season rough, got a new coaching staff. Maybe they're starting to kind of put things together a little bit. I don't really know. To be honest, I haven't really watched a whole lot of Notre Dame so far this season, but I'll definitely go back and probably at least watch some of their condensed games and kind of see what they like to do, so we can talk about it in their preview video and stuff like that. But to be completely honest, I haven't watched a ton of them. I know that they have struggled mightily this season, but they are next up. But good thing for us, we got a bye week to get a little bit healthier, to kind of reset, recharge, get some treatment. The guys can get feeling a little bit better. DJ can kind of bounce back and shake that last game off, flush that, move on to the next, and then we can have some extra time to get ready for Notre Dame as well as doing some self scouting. Some of the stuff we were talking about earlier on in the chat, with doing some more with the tight ends, getting some creative passing game going, and all that stuff. I'm sure we will do all that in the bye week. But again, that's the last of the comments. So again, our Clemson Tigers are 8-0 heading into our off week or our bye week or whatever you want to call it. We got some time to finally rest and recruit and self-scout and figure maybe some things out that aren't going so well, and then improve on those things and just get better as a team. And that's what I look for Clemson to do. Again, our defense has been pretty good, amazing all season. Played another great game against Syracuse. The offense moved the ball well, but couldn't get out of their own way. Turned the ball over repeatedly, and you give a team like Syracuse some momentum and some belief that they're really going to come in there and win that game, and that's kind of how it ends up. But lucky for us, our defense puts a shutout in the second half, and the offense was able to do just enough to take control of not take control of the game, but to get enough points on the board so that we could get out of there with a win. So to this point in the season, Clemson has done what we all wanted them to do. We are where we wanted to be at this point in the season. It may not have looked how all of us thought it would, but regardless of that, we are 8-0 heading into a bye week. Look for another video, another live show coming out later this week where me, DeAndre, Jordan, and Smitty will all come on. We'll talk about the season up until this point, the 8 games that we have played, the things that we liked, the things that we didn't like, the things that we can improve on, the things that we should continue to do, and then our outlook for the rest of the season. If you guys want to hear that, again, stay tuned to the channel. We will do a live show. It'll probably be Friday afternoon, Friday evening time frame for that video. But if that changes, I will try to get something posted to the channel so you guys can be on the lookout for it. But regardless of when it is, I will schedule it a few hours in advance so you guys can make plans to be here. Thanks again for joining me tonight. Again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you haven't hit that like button already, please do so. And we will see you guys in the next video. Tiger Paul out.